Hey everybody, there are a few things that I want to talk about in my absence about your final paper. So let me direct you to either one or two places. One, if you'll please go to the Credo topics page. Looks like I need to sign in. So either the Credo topics page on our class, or you can also go to the assignment for the final paper, and you'll find everything that we need there. Sorry, this isn't loading correctly. So again, you can either go to our final paper right here, or on the topics page, you can go to the Credo and you'll see actually this video. Um, a couple of things that I want to draw your attention to. First is the formatting of this paper. Pay special attention to this. It's just 12-point font, Times New Roman, 1-inch margin, type, double spaced. Be sure that you're paying special attention to that. Finally, secondly, the page limit. This paper needs to be at least 10 pages, and what that means is you should have, by this point, have written about 7 or 8 pages, so you just have a few more to go, and we'll get there here in just a minute. But if you need more space, I'll help you with that as well. Let me address a couple of things that I've seen so far. This paper, remember, needs to be in the first person. You're talking about yourself, or you're talking about kind of the like the plural we. So you should never use the word you in this paper. For example, if you're writing this section about what's gone wrong with humanity, and you're talking about how like anger is the problem with humanity, what's gone wrong, and you keep on saying you, I'm gonna really wonder and think like, but I don't have a problem with anger, and so why is that a problem for me? Because I am the you that you're addressing. So please be sure that you're very mindful of the ways in which you use language. Don't ever use the word you. One note on grading, and then I'll get into the paper. I'm not grading this paper based upon what you say. So notice right here, I'm not grading on what you believe, but rather how much care and attention you give to express what you believe. So you need to take your time. You need to be logical. You need to be consistent. You need to really think thoughtfully about this paper. And so let me show you my logic. Remember, for McIntyre and for Wilson, the narrative is the foundation of a tradition. So you've already written this paper. You probably need to go back and look at it again. Secondly, you guys have already written this paper about the practices. Now, one special note here, a practice is something that you do. So if I'm going to talk about family as a main thing that shapes my identity, that's going to be part of my narrative. Now, the practices that I'm going to talk about, though, are going to be the things that my family does. For example, like going to church, or doing certain things on Thanksgiving, or vacations that we take regularly. Whatever it may be, a practice is something that you do. Some of you guys confuse these two papers together. The third paper that you guys have done is this paper on God. What is God like, or who is God? What is God like? What does God do? You need to be, again, go back, edit that, make sure that's a really strong paper. The reason that this right here is in that lighter color is it's one that you don't necessarily have to do. You can if you'd like, but you can skip over this because in this paper you only have 10 pages. And so you need to really use as much of those 10 pages as you possibly can. It's these three sections that are going to be the crux of the belief section of your paper. You've already written this and submitted something on what does it mean to be human, what does it mean to be created in the image of God, and then really also what's gone wrong with humanity. This is a really interesting paper to read for me. So at this point, you've now written 4 pieces of the paper. You should be about 7 pages or so. And so your final 2 sections that you're going to be working and then submit with your final paper are going to be these: the section on Jesus and the section on salvation. Now, these 2 sections pertain uniquely for those students who identify as Christian, because here, remember, you're identifying the problem of humanity, and you're going to call that sin. And so the solution to that problem is going to be how Christians talk about the word salvation. So please, again, you'll need to read about this in class. I already have that assignment set up for the sub, but you'll read about these, and then you will likely spend the rest of your time writing. Now, if you need a few more sections or whatnot to get up to 10 pages, what I would recommend is some of you guys go here and you look at morality. This will set you up for your class next year as a senior. Yeah, but this will give you the opportunity to talk about the beliefs that guide your actions. Like, what does it mean to live Christianly, or what does it mean to live the moral life? Notice down here, if you don't consider yourself a theist, if you don't believe in God, your paper is really quite similar, actually. You're going to begin by talking about the major narratives or traditions that shape your identity, your country of origin, your family. Uh, we can get rid of that. Your country of origin, your family, certain things that are really broad. Likewise, you've already done this. You're going to talk about the things that you do that shape your identity. Now here you have a little bit of leeway. I'm going to actually move these down just a little bit because what I would recommend you do is that you talk about some of the things that your peers are going to be talking about, but just in a non-religious way. I would talk about what is the human situation? What does it mean to be human? What's the fundamental flaw with humanity, if there is one? Likewise, I want you to talk about the solution to that problem. How, if the problem is pride, or if the problem is selfishness, what's the solution? How can we do better? And then there's a whole host of things you guys can talk about if you don't consider yourself a theist. You can talk about morality, you can talk about truth, you can talk about the goals of life, if you will. But I want to get rid of a misconception here that if you don't consider yourself a theist, that you don't believe in anything, and that's just simply not true. Even people who believe in God, people who don't believe in God, they have fairly robust belief systems. So I hope that this helps. You're going to want to combine all of this stuff together into one major paper. And again, the formatting 12-point font, Times New Roman, 1-inch margins, typed, of course, double spaced, and then it needs to be formatted in one entire paper. I do hope that you're enjoying writing this. I will admit that I very much enjoy reading the paper, and so please take time and effort to do this as well as you can and submit this again by 10 p.m. on Saturday evening.